Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Old Nerd Reads Marvel Comics in Order, episode 45. This time we're reading the 100th issue of the Uncanny X-Men. Now, your eyes don't deceive you. You are looking at Classic X-Men number 8. However, for the purposes of this project, I'm leaving my original Uncanny X-Men in their protective bags and boards, and I'm getting out my classic X-Men to read in their stead to preserve their tenuous grip on remaining in good shape. Some of them are a little rough, so I don't want to pull them out and read them if I don't have to. But this works just fine because this is a bit of a retcon. These classic X-Men, they do a little backstorying of the series from point 10 years later. The classic X-Men, this came out in 1987. This issue originally, the issue reprinted in here, Uncanny X-Men number 100, originally came out in 76, so it's 11 years later. So the X-Men have skyrocketed in popularity in that time. And the same writer, Chris Claremont, has been writing it for that entire 11-year run. So at this point, they were so popular that they started doing these reprints. And Chris Claremont actually added backstories to this, to each issue that got reprint. And he would actually add new pages to the old stories to kind of retcon them so that they made more sense. Also, you get these fantastic Art Adams covers on the first couple years worth of these. Art Adams also did the frontispiece art. Is the old team looking mean. Here we see that we have James Sherman doing pages 12 and 15. He's adding fill-in pages or retcon pages to the original story is what's going on there, because the original series artist was Dave Cockrum, and he of course draws most of these pages. But the X-Men are up on the old Shield space platform, orbital platform, with what's this guy's name? Stephen Lang. He's the head of the Sentinel Project. He wants to destroy all mutants. He created these doppelgangers of the original team of X-Men to fight the new team of X-Men. So we have a big melee. Old team versus new team. And it's a great fight. Great fight with great artwork by Dave Cockrum. The fight goes on for first half and until Wolverine finally figures it out. He finally figures out what's going on because of his animal senses. He can smell and detect things that the rest of the team can't. Of course, they just think that he's murdered Jean Grey here. But she's a robot. She's a Sentinel. And as you see here, Stephen Lang has Professor X, Marvel Girl, and Cyclops in custody. And this fellow, he's a friend of Professor X's. I can't remember his name right now. And here we have one of the retconned pages of one of the henchmen panicking because the orbital platform is starting to fall apart, and then Scott breaks out. Stephen Lang, of course, he's a crazy fanatic. He wants to kill all mutants, and he's going to do so at whatever risk. But he ends up crashing his little plane into the view screen and blowing himself up and dying. Here we have another retconned panel right here. As you can tell the difference between the artwork, you can tell that is not Dave Cockrum art. This page is kind of the same way. I think it starts off with a Dave Cockrum panel and then this retconned James Sherman stuff. But then it's back to Dave Cockrum. And now the only way off the platform is to use this shuttle that the X-Men came up to rescue the other X-Men in, but it's damaged. And there's a solar flare going on, and Jean Grey is the only one capable of piloting the ship and protecting herself, maybe, from the solar radiation that's going to come in. And that's how that issue ends. Here's some portraits by Dave Cockrum. Really nice work. And here we have what is all in all the classic X-Men, a backup story written by Chris Claremont with art by John Bolton. And this just kind of goes into more detail what happens to Jean Grey while she's piloting the shuttle. And it goes into how her body is ruined by the radiation. And then the Phoenix Force shows up. And her body passes away, and the Phoenix Force takes her shape and puts Jean Grey's body into a cocoon for safety. We'll find out what, about 10 years later, or maybe 8 years later, they find her in the bottom of the Hudson Bay, I think the Fantastic Four does, and then they revive Jean Grey at that point. But for now, it's just the Phoenix. So the Phoenix has taken over Jean Grey's body. Well, not taken over her body, but formed itself into a facsimile of Jean Grey's body with her memories and everything. And now she's the Phoenix as the shuttle continues to travel to Earth. Great backup stories. These backup stories were always great in these, and the artwork was fantastic. Here's the original cover. They always put that on the inside back cover. Original cover to number 100. And then there would always be a nice back cover by John Bolton, the artist of the backup story. And here he did the Phoenix. John Bolton, 1986. Number 8. Issue number 8. So yeah, even though this isn't technically Uncanny X-Men number 100, or back then as it was just known, just X-Men, it still covers it pretty well, plus gives some cool updates. And of course, these great backup stories by John Bolton and Arthur Adams covers and front pieces. I loved classic X-Men when I was a kid. I read these so much. I read this issue a lot. I'm surprised it's held together because I read it a lot. But anyway, if you know any more about the what they were doing with this series back then, comment down below. Stick around. I've got a long ways to go. I'm reading through my collection in order, my Marvel comics in order. So I started around 1974. I'm getting close to the end of 1976 now. And I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to go right through the 80s, I'm sure, but one issue at a time. So this is going to take a while. So stick around. That's the project. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.